Hi guys, and welcome to a tutorial on how to draw a rose. Before I begin, I just wanted to remind you that today is the last day of my 20% off sale. You can use the code SOLSTICE at happyd-artist.com to get 20% off your order, and it ends at midnight today. Okay, on to the tutorial. First off, before I begin, I would like to quickly apologize for the lighting. I didn't realize that there was a bit of a glare from my studio lamp, so about halfway through the video, I actually correct it and I switch it to a more easily seen angle. So sorry if there's a little bit of glare, but it's not too bad. But yeah, so how to draw a rose. My approach is very simple. This is the way that I do it. It might not be the most professional or accurate or formal way, but this is just my technique. So if you're interested in it, feel free to keep watching. What I do is I always use a reference photo for roses. I haven't drawn enough of them to make up the different angles and the layers of the petals off the top of my head yet. So I'm using a reference photo and I sketch out kind of a basic outline in using very light pressure. That is my most important tip, especially when you're drawing something you're unfamiliar with, is when you're doing your outline sketch, try to use as little pressure as possible, because you'll want to later refine your lines and then erase all the messy kind of structural lines. So if you use pressure that's too hard and you create a stroke that is too bold, it'll be really hard to erase. So start off with light pressure, and gradually, as you can see here, I'm just tweaking the petals, erasing them, and then when I feel confident about where a line should go, then I use heavier pressure to really define and solidify that line. And with roses, a thing to keep in mind is that the petals are in like a spiral pattern. So think of it almost as like a braid in your hair. So you'll never get two petals that are on the same circle. It's kind of a spiral instead. And also a thing with roses is the petals fold. Like when they grow from the root or the base of the flower, they have a cute little fold or curl where they curl outwards. So when it comes time to shade the petals, you have to remember the outer flap of the petal that curls is usually the one that receives the most light from the light source, because it's usually facing the light. And then you have the shadows closer to the base of the flower, where the petals kind of all are growing and emerging from. So regardless of if you know the anatomy of a rose or not, if you follow along with your reference photo, it'll become a lot clearer to you. So again, with shading, just like with any other type of drawing, I really encourage you to use soft pressure and gradually build up the layers of shading. Just because you see a super dark area on the flower doesn't mean you should go in right away and use extremely hard pressure to create the blackest line you can find. What you should do instead is to gradually, layer by layer, build up the shadows, and that way with the kind of soft gradient you make, it creates a really dreamy and more natural, more realistic looking type of shadow. So here, even while I'm shading, I'm still in the process of refining some of the lines and making sure to be very accurate in rendering the shape of each petal. Another trick with rose petals is they're not perfectly smooth. Like, you'll never do a perfectly straight line. They have little dents in them, little almost like frills. And they're in very irregular shapes. So if you want a rose that looks really natural and organic, make sure you don't have a pattern that repeats itself too mechanically. So when it comes time to draw the little dents in the outline of the petals, just try to make them as random and as asymmetrical as you can. Okay, here I switched the lighting to an actual proper lighting. This is what I've been shading the whole time. And another thing is the side of the rose that's closest to the light source. In my case, the light source is coming from the left side, the top left. So all of the petals that are facing the top left get the really bright white highlight. So imagine the light as almost like a stream of water or something solid like a fog, and all the petals that touch the light or get hit by the water are the ones that get the brightest highlights. And in terms of shadows, the parts that are occluded by either the bulb, like the main form of the rose, or occluded by other petals, they get submerged in the most shadow. So if you try to think of your light source almost as like something solid or something liquid, that'll really help when it comes to shading as well. Okay, that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick impromptu tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!